All right, welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Today, we're going to be talking about Behind the Grind Episode 2, which was an absolute banger. Before we dive into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogen. And let's get into it. So, same thing from the last video when we did Behind the Grind Episode 1. I'm going to give my thoughts, just things that really stood out. And, I'll try to keep it organized. I made notes and stuff. So really wanted to touch on a lot of different things in this video. I wanted to start off by saying, as you guys can see, it's a little bit different on this channel right now. This camera is new. I went out and got the FX30. And the reason I want to be transparent always with my audience, because, you guys donate to me. You guys will... super chat, super thanks, all of that, which really means the world. And I don't feel like I say that enough. So, you're also members on this channel as well. You support me on Kick, you support me on Twitter. I have some people that subscribe to me on Twitter. So just wanted to let you guys know that, yes, while that is the way I make a living, as well as YouTube ads and sponsorships and things like that, I also want to make it very clear that while, yes, I'm using it to make a living, I'm also always willing to put money back into the business, put money back into my process, because I want the best quality for you guys, which is why I've decided to go back to filming 4K. So you'll be seeing more 4K videos instead of just 1080. I know a lot of people miss those. That was early on in my journey. I know that's like ass backwards, but that's just the way it worked out. So on to the video, and thank you guys for making this a reality, because it's kind of crazy. I wouldn't be able to do any of this without you guys. So Behind the Grind Episode 2, let's talk about. First thing is my soundbite. Okay, I would absolutely be crazy not to be talking about the fact that I got mentioned in the Rams docu-series. And not mentioned, I mean, they literally clipped my video. Quick soundbite. I was talking about, while it's not realistic to trade up, I would definitely like them to do so. Because I didn't really feel like it was super realistic for them to trade up at times. I was hoping they would, but I was thinking about it and I'm like, I don't know. So I was hoping they would. I was a big fan of it. They ultimately tried to. We'll get into that. It did not come out to be. However, it ended up working out for the better. You guys know, I've touched on this before. I wanted Brock Bowers. I got really excited for the opportunity of getting, one of the best players in the entire draft. And I think he would have been an absolute force for this offense. However, the reality of the situation is, if you get Brock Bowers, you don't end up with Braden Fisk and Jared Verse. Who knows who you end up with? You might have had a way worse draft. You had to give up a lot of capital to move up in this draft. And I'll be honest with you, just watching this, which is, by the way, incredibly done by the Rams media team. Just outstanding job. This was a great episode, one of the best to date. But when you really, you watch this, you could really get a feel for how hard it was for the Rams to trade up. They tried. Okay, they tried multiple times. I know this. I've said this. They tried to trade up, to 8. I think they tried to trade up to 12. I mean, they tried so many different times, and no one wanted to move down to 19. And that's just really the nature of it. However, the Rams end up getting lucky, and Jared Verse falls to them at 19. So good stuff there. Speaking of Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, the interaction was amazing. I am so glad they were able to capture this on film. This was really cool because it gives you a genuine reaction to the fact that, hey, Braden Fisk obviously is, realizing a dream of a lifetime on the phone. He talks to Les Snead, he talks to Sean McVay, and they run up Jared Verse into the war room. They get him on the phone, and Jared Verse, you could tell he's in absolute shock. He is astonished. He doesn't know what to say. We've all been there before. It happens. Even though they said your new teammate, he's still processing everything. I don't even think he realizes. And you can see he's like, oh, I didn't even, so it was a really cool moment. Tearjerker for sure. You have both the guys in tears, and I think they're both going to be great. And I love that the Rams, this wasn't just, hey, this would be a cool story. No. This was a freaking football move. The Rams saw an opportunity to get two guys who are better when paired with each other, two guys that FSU was undefeated with when they played, and two guys that Mike Norvell was so high on, the coach at FSU, that he literally texted Sean McVay and said, you're going to love them. So look, okay, I love these two picks. I really, really like them when they happen, but I just love them more each day. And I think Jared Verse and Braden Fisk are going to be Rams for a long time. So I'm very excited about this, and it was great to see it, on the film and everything, because that was really cool. Another thing that was really cool, Michael Pierce called in Tyler Davis. Now, for those of you who don't know, I actually met Michael Pierce at the Senior Bowl way back when. Time flies, man. It was probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And Pierce was so awesome. I want to give him a big shout out. I don't know if he'll ever see this. I haven't really talked with him since, but Pierce was one of those guys that, really just you like talking with, and he made you feel good. And as a content creator who started this thing from literally nothing and turned it into what it is today, which is still, we're not anywhere near where I want to be, but we're getting there. It really meant a lot to hear Pierce talk about my articles on Downtown Rams. And, we were going back and forth, and he's like, oh yeah, we read your stuff. We see your stuff. We're always watching. Just when you think we're not, we're always watching. I'll never forget him saying that when I was in the press box and I spoke with him. Just a really genuine person. And it was cool that, he got an opportunity to call, Tyler Davis and let him know, hey, the Rams are picking you. That's pretty awesome, and I like that Sean McVay and Lesney did that for multiple, staff members and scouts. I decided to highlight Michael Pierce because I actually had an experience with him at the Senior Bowl way back when, and I always I've still to this day I still think about the guy. I think it was a really cool thing, and I'm glad he's still with the Rams because it was great talking with him at the Senior Bowl. Moving on, Sean McVay, he seemed way more into this draft than last year. Let me make this very clear. I'm not saying Sean McVay didn't care about last year's draft, folks. I'm not saying that. But Sean McVay very clearly had more intel, it seemed like. He seemed more into this draft. He seemed like he really could help out in this draft. And there were guys that he was way interested in, whereas last year be like, well, what if we got this guy? What if we got this guy? Like, oh yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Or like, oh, what do you think about him? Like, oh, you want Wake Forest? All right, well, let's go with Wake Forest. Like, it seemed like Sean this year had ideas. Like, oh, I really want Jared Verse. Oh man, it'd be so freaking good if we can get Braden Fisk. And then Cam Kinchins and even like Blake Corum. I mean, Sean seemed way more invested this year. And again, that is no knock on him. Last year, they didn't have a first round pick, but he seemed supercharged this year, which is cool to see. Les actually ended up calling Adam Peters, the general manager of the Washington Commanders, at pick 2 before the draft started. Which I like that they showed that little tidbit. He jokingly, he made a joke like, oh, well, I guess Jalen Daniels isn't going to be a Ram, or we're not going to get Jalen Daniels. My thing is, I like that they showed this. This doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean the Rams were going to trade up to 2. He does say, if you change your mind or whatever, give us a call. But I think Les was just kind of having some fun with this. He was calling everybody. He was talking to everybody. He was using the quarterbacks this time around as a bit of a smokescreen, if you will. The Rams really used it as a smokescreen. I will get into that, in a little bit. But, that was something that I really noticed. The Rams, again, like I mentioned previously, tried to trade out multiple times. Now, the video doesn't really, the docuseries doesn't show, them getting all, frustrated or anything like that. I'm sure there's a lot that's taken out, but I know the Rams tried to trade up multiple times. I think the docuseries did a nice job of, at least documenting that. I think it showed everyone in a positive kind of, even keel, relaxed, light, but we all know war rooms. We all know that I'm sure at some point those guys were getting a little annoyed or, pissed off at somebody dropping. Man, could you imagine? What would you pay for an unfiltered, uncut video of that entire war room during those 3 days? I could tell you right now, I would probably throw a G to get that, because that would be very interesting. That's the type of stuff I can't get enough of. Same thing goes for the draft board, man. Oh my God, what would I pay if I could actually see the draft board? I mean, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a nerd, but I love that. So another thing I want to talk about, we mentioned Fisk and the Jared Verse thing, but I think the first thing is they could not believe Verse fell. Now, I thought it was possible Verse would fall, but I was a little surprised too. But yeah, they were really excited about that. Fisk, though, right after they got Verse, and the way it's cut, I mean, maybe that's not the case, because again, there are a lot of cuts in here. There are a lot of edits, right? But the way it's cut, it makes you almost seem like, Fisk was the guy all along after Verse. And they start talking about him, on night one, what if we get up to 39 or whatever? And I thought that was really cool. And it shows their attempts, they try to trade up with another team. They say, no, we're not willing to move down to 52. We need something this year. That's too far. And then Sean McVay, he does this twice. He does this Houdini act. He said, well, 39, Carolina, they would take this offer, or they would do this. And sure enough, they did. And he does it a little bit later on with Blake Corum, and he says Blake Corum's going to be there at 83. Sure enough, he's there at 83. So Sean McVay with two Houdini acts there, kind of cool stuff. But the reality of the situation is this. All these people who are mocking the Rams for trading up and getting Braden Fisk, these are people that don't understand because they're not in the war room with these guys. If you, before this video, okay, after this video, they really wanted Braden Fisk. All right. They feel really good about this draft. This isn't just PR. This was a really good sign. The Rams really didn't feel like they just took second place, or, they really got a bunch of guys that they really feel like are going to help their football team. And that's something that you like to see as a fan, as somebody that covers the team, just in general. Their first 4 picks were in their top 50, which is pointed out in this video, which is awesome. Absolutely love to hear that. You got 4 guys in your top 50 on your big board. Fantastic stuff. McVay, after they picked Blake Corum, mentions he texted Kyron and he was fired up for the Corum pick. Brennan Jackson was the one day 3 guy Les Snead said he would have been mad missing out on. I'll tell you right now, I've said it. Brennan Jackson, after we interviewed him, Alexis and I said that guy's going to be a Ram. They're going to fall in love with his demeanor. That guy's going to be a Ram. I was not surprised. And to be fair, it's not just me. Anybody who covers the Rams, if you've been covering the Rams, like Sean McVay's whole tenure here, or longer, but just Sean McVay's whole tenure with Les Snead, you pick up on things, right? You find archetypes. You find different things that that they like. And then you like that. That's just natural. If you cover a team for 8 years or whatever, and you don't pick up on any of the little intricate details that they look for in players, then you're not doing your job right. So I was picking up on this stuff, and I even pointed out Jordan Whittington and my guy Blaine Grisack over at Turf Show Times. I mean, he picked up this stuff. He's made these Snead Snacks articles for years where he'll take guys based on their athletic profile and their mental makeup and all of that, and then he'll put it together and, he'll basically find guys that the Rams would target in the draft, and he's gotten quite a few right. So the reality is the Rams are not predictable. It's just if you've been around this team for a long time and you've analyzed this team for a long time and you see it differently, you can pick up on things. And that was one of those things with Brennan Jackson and Jordan Whittington where I watched him and I was like, both of these guys are going to be Rams if they're there and the Rams can make it happen. But yeah, I love that the Rams clearly smokescreened the quarterbacks. They probably had a lot to do with the quarterback rumors. They celebrated when Bo Nix was drafted. I mean, that tells you all you need to know. I think obviously they celebrated when Bo Nix was drafted because Brock Bowers was, he fell. They weren't able to get him, but I know that they wanted Brock Bowers. I think we all know they wanted Brock Bowers. That doesn't mean they didn't want Jared Verse. I think Brock Bowers was number one on their board personally. But Les Snead mentioned McVay as being extra helpful. I'm paraphrasing here, kind of just explaining what happened. I'm not actually quoting, but Les viewed himself as too close to the situation and felt he needed a guy to get a different perspective. So it's actually pretty cool, and I relate to this. When you're too close, when you're in the weeds, you need somebody outside of the weeds to kind of guide you. Sometimes the logical approach, sometimes the common sense approach. The guy that's not deep into the weeds is somebody that can give you that. And so I thought that was really cool that Les Snead mentioned that, because that's how I've always looked at it. And I've always said this, and I mean no disrespect to Rams coaches and things like that, but I go back to guys like John Franklin Myers getting cut, right? And I just feel like sometimes guys are too in the weeds. Coaches are too in the weeds in training camp where, maybe they focus too much on, a certain aspect of something, and they cut a guy, and it just takes the guy on the outside looking in being like, the common sense play here is to not cut him. But, that's just something that I've always felt. I feel like sometimes, you can be too close to something. You could be too in. You could be too sucked in and not see the other dimensions of said thing. And I think, with Les Snead talking about Sean McVay being able to kind of do that, the yin to his yang, I mean, I think that's kind of a big deal because there are times where, Les Snead will get so, caught up in the weeds, like he's saying, he's in the forest, if you will. Sean can kind of be like, well, hold on a sec. This guy's right here. I mean, you wanted this guy earlier. Why is the, so I think that's really cool. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal about it, but I love the different perspective dynamic there. Wanted to point that out. This is obviously, like I mentioned, one of the best Behind the Grind episodes to date. And they mention the North Star a lot. You can tell Aaron Donald's heartbeat still lives within this Rams organization. They want guys who care, have great mental makeup, and want to be Rams. They want to put in the work. And I think they drafted 10 guys that are going to do that. And I think all 10 guys are going to make the roster. So I feel really good about this after episode 2. This is my favorite episode in quite some time. Not just because my soundbite was in it, but there were a lot of, great things to take away. And dude, the draft episodes are so awesome, man. To have this level of access when you just normally don't get this access in the draft room, you normally get a clip or two. This was really cool. Again, absolute hats off to the Rams media team. This was fantastic stuff. I was really impressed. I was really happy to see this. And I'm excited for episode 3. But that's all I got for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys like the new camera, the new setup and everything. If you don't, also let me know in the comment section below. But if you do, let me know in the comment section below. I'll have more videos. I'm going to start ramping up content, putting out content. I've been a little, not really putting out as much as I want to. And the reason being is I've just been kind of picky about my camera setup and everything. Been thinking about buying a new camera for a while now. It's been about 3 to 4 years since I purchased the A6400. So I owe it a lot because I initially started out with the the Canon EOS M50. That was a great starter camera. Then I got the A6400. I got the Sigma 16mm lens, the 30mm at the time. Now I'm using the Sigma 16. You might still see that camera every now and then, but you're probably going to see a side angle, okay? I am very interested in, kind of expanding the range of how, what this could do, like what this channel could become. And I'd like to have that side camera angle to give just an extra dynamic, a kind of a new look into my videos. So yes, like all those big YouTubers that have those, 2-3 camera angles, I also have a switcher, and I plan on using the other camera and not selling it. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Again, appreciate everyone for supporting me as always. Be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan. Also, do me a favor, if you haven't already, subscribe to my Kick channel, kick.com/JKBogan. I will be ramping up the live streams, on Kick. Obviously, I'll have them on YouTube as well, but these are going to be different. These will be gaming. These will be community hangouts. So if you want to be a part of that, it's free, kick.com/JKBogan. If you need to sign up for an account, it takes 2 minutes, maybe even less, and it's free. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.